Hi there, welcome to the Old Boys podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe and like this video and share it with your friends. My name is John Wanga, and today we're doing episode 2. I'm here with Gilbert Kitua. Hey, how are you, my guy?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you, sir. Are we in school? That's how we used to respond to our teachers.
No, I remember when we were in high school, your dad sent you a letter, or was it I think it was a letter.
Yeah.
And on it was addressed to Mr. John Wanga. So
don't worry.
If you were Mr. back then in high school, so why not, sir?
Yeah, my dad was an official guy, yeah. And and I think it comes also from studying in Western Kenya. So you guys and us guys who went to Western Kenya, who studied primary schools in Western, you know how it is, eh?
Yeah, it's quite like it's like a, let me say, a military camp in a way. It's not easy, especially if you're in a public school.
Yes.
It's not as soft as the private.
Even private schools are tough, yeah, especially those boarding schools. I talked to anyone who went to St. Peter's, boys. Those guys who went to boarding at class 3 or class 4.
But why would you send your child to boarding in class 2 or class 1? That's like torturing them in a way, because it's unfair to them.
they become tough.
They come home, they're psychopaths. They don't have any feelings, because in school you're living to survive.
Yeah, but I was reading something Jordan Peterson wrote. So he's saying that you only socialize your child from the age of 0 to 4. After that, it's siblings and society which socializes the child. So probably your role ends at age 4, there, age 4, 5. Then after that is school and siblings.
So the environment also does play a part in a child's growing up.
A very big part.
Speaking of Professor Jordan B. Peterson, you listen to his podcasts?
Yeah, once in a while. But I mostly listen to his interviews, not his podcast as such.
There's one, I think it's you who recommended it to me. The what is it? The psychological significance of biblical stories.
Lecture series. That lecture series.
Yeah, the lecture series. I think I'm at lecture 4. No, I'm at lecture 5. The story of Cain and Abel. Yeah, but yeah, that guy is really brilliant, because you look at how he interprets the significance.
I'm sorry, you've broken up a bit. Yeah. So you're saying we're talking about lecture 4.
Yeah. So generally, what he's trying to do with this lecture series, and I think there's also another series of lectures on personality.
Yeah, personality and its and its transformation.
Yeah. So I think in one of his lectures or in one of his interviews with in one of his YouTube interviews, there's something like quite prominent he usually utters, and I think it's quite important to us as young men growing old. So there's this thing about making choices and whether the choices have consequences. So he says choices, people need to make choices, and whether you make a choice or not, there's a consequence that comes with it. So in relation to our generation right now, you get, let me use an example of myself.
Yes.
Yeah, when growing up, you you are really ignorant. Like you don't know much stuff, and that in itself is a choice, because once you're conscious and you can reason and you can make decisions, then it means there's something you can do to change the situation, your life situation. So you find that there's a little bit of complacency among the youths. There's this trend, especially with like if you let me use the example of Kenyan youths, the generation after, is it this guys finishing high school after 2017, 2018? You get viral videos on the internet. The guys are bashing and drinking alcohol. Others are like almost half naked, but smoking weed and stuff. So that in a way, it's like it's a decision you've made. And in the long term, when you look at it from a long-term point of view, it will really come back to affect you. But you won't know it when you're young. So someone would ask, how then would we help these kids? Or I think we are in that generation. So how then would we help these kids?
Okay, I hear what you're saying, and what Peterson said, it's something like, you don't get not to pay a price. You only get to choose. You only get consequence. You only get to choose which price you pay. It's something like that. So it's, and another way you can put it is, you don't get not to sacrifice. You only get to choose which sacrifice you make.
And that's really important.
Okay, in connection with what we are talking about, the biblical lecture series, when he gets to, and I think he talks about in that Cain and Abel.
I've not watched Cain and Abel. Let me I'm done up to Eve. Is it Eve? But you can explain with Cain and Abel, because I'm watching it tomorrow or Sunday.
Okay, so then so he talks about sacrifice. So Cain and Abel both sacrificed to God. For those who know the biblical story, Cain and Abel sacrificed to God, and Abel's sacrifice is accepted. So he brings the best of his flock, and Cain's sacrifice is rejected. So and the Bible doesn't say whether Cain's sacrifice is rejected, whether it's wrong, or what makes it wrong. But what Peterson says, no, then okay, God meets Cain later in the later, and he asks him, why do you have a scorn on your face? If you do good, what you do be accepted? So the point is, if you make the proper sacrifice, what you get from the world be what you wanted, be what you need. Most important, be what you need, not what you want, because those are two different things. So it's, which sacrifice are you going to make, and with the price that you pay, because sacrifice is something that is, he says it's something that's ingrained in our psyche as human beings. So because it's something like postponing immediate gratification or investing in the future. So in the book, I think, sorry to interrupt you, but in the book Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari, so he talks about how communities came together and how communities which were able to learn sacrifice, and also Peterson talks about it a bit, were able to prosper, and why this idea has been pushed into the Bible. It's a very important idea in the Bible, sacrifice. And the story of Abraham and Isaac also talks about sacrifice, and the story of Esau and Jacob. So it's something like, let's say we are living in a tribe, me, you, me, some guys. Today I get to hunt, and I go on a successful hunt. I get an antelope or a deer. I bring it back to the settlement. So you, if
tomorrow won't be this.
Tomorrow won't be the same. So if I share with you, I am sacrificing my satisfaction at this moment to eat the whole antelope with my family. So I share with you. But in that same regard, the only reason I'm sharing with you is if I get it back in the future. So I'm investing in, so when you'll get a good hunting day, that you'll be able to invest in me. And that's what our
like it's
okay, go on.
It's more like in context of communities, it's like there's the guys who have gone hunting and they've had a successful hunt. It's not like all their compatriots will have successful hunts. So by sharing with them their successful hunt in the future, they hope that they'll also be part of their
and it's something sorry to interrupt you, I'll just make a quick point. It's something that people don't understand, because that's putting that immediate gratification aside and sacrificing for the future. People see it as losing. It's not losing. It's an investment into the future. You're losing right now, yes. But let's say when you get sick and you can't go looking for food, then you'll have someone who can feed you. Then maybe you won't die of hunger.
But that's... speaking of, sorry for that. But speaking of knowing when or knowing what exactly to sacrifice, you won't really know when or what to sacrifice if you don't have a habit, you haven't formed a habit of sacrificing. And it's not like forming habits or breaking them is easy in any way. So speaking of habits, and
can I just say something before we talk about habits on selecting what you need to sacrifice?
Please do.
Okay, so there's this idea, you have your own system. So people of our age, because you've lived for, let's say, 20 years, 19, 18, you know things that you're supposed to do. There's a list of things you're supposed to do, 10 things you're supposed to do, and maybe you don't get to do even 3 of those things. So it's something like, if you look in your immediate environment on what needs to be done at that moment. So let's say, just one thing that, again, Peterson says is clean your room. Like that's your immediate environment. Just clean your room. And in his second book, he has a chapter called "Make One Room in Your House as Beautiful as Possible." So it's that maybe while cleaning your room, you'll find something that you might be able to invest in, or you might be able to do. That's what you need to commit your time to, like attending to immediate things, attending to cleaning your room, and putting your house in order, and then maybe you can
also
start. Okay.
And also doing that in order of priority.
Yes.
Like you need to have a filter mechanism so that you don't go so that you don't lose focus of what you want. Because if you look, let's using this example of, well, metaphorically speaking, using the room as maybe challenges, or not really challenges, problems that are there that need to be solved. And if you don't really prioritize these problems, then eventually you lose your life will lose meaning, because you'll end up doing trivial things that don't really help you.
And that's one thing that people do. So let's say you're supposed to write a paper, or you're supposed to write a research paper, you're supposed to hand in a lab report, but then you start let's say maybe doing laundry or cleaning your room, which you have just said, and yet your paper is due tomorrow. So that's yes, you are attending to an important task, but
that's not as important as the paper, because if you don't give enough attention to the paper, you won't do enough research, and maybe the paper won't even be appealing to your lecturers.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what attending to the immediate environment, what needs to be done that I can do within my power. So let's say there's corruption in Kenya, but you know it's a problem, and maybe you want to address it. But what can you do in your power? Maybe the way you act
Yeah,
around in public offices, or let's say if you're working there. But
yeah,
what
because it starts
realistically
with
can
you,
you do?
really.
Yeah. So
Mm.
imagine if everyone did that. If everyone did what they were supposed to do without procrastination and without all that. If everyone attended to the
Like,
so a simple example is the cleaning your room. If everyone, let's say you're living in an apartment, if everyone cleaned their room, once the room was clean, they will notice that let's say their verandas or their balconies are not clean. Then they'll
yeah,
clean the
and
outside, and then the entire apartment will be clean. So
yeah,
that's just a simple example of, and this can happen in every field, as even in teams, sports teams. Yeah, if everyone just
yeah.
does their small little job, we played rugby with you, I
Yeah,
think, in high
you
school.
do your due diligence and
Yeah,
everything will be
if everyone
fine.
just does
And
their job, then the whole team succeeds.
yeah, and that really, in order to keep your room clean and organized and avoid chaos, you need to do it consciously, because and it takes effort to, like, you need to reason out, you need to plan, and that takes energy, and I think for most of people in our generation, they don't have the well, really, they don't have the, I don't think they have the time to, like, settle down and even just think for a moment about their lives and maybe things they need to be doing right and things they need to be avoiding.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
this okay, and this ties into addiction in our generation. So we are like, there's a quote I saw somewhere, we're like cactus in a rainforest. So we are being bombarded every time with stimuli. Yeah. So you're switching from screen to screen. So you're on your phone,
Yeah,
you're chatting
especially
with
in the age
people.
of social media.
Yeah. So you're on your phone, you're chatting with guys, and then the next thing you're your laptop. After that, maybe you're in a lecture. Then after that, you're in a party with your friends. After that, maybe you're in a sport. So there's people don't take time to really think
You
about
don't
these
even
things.
have time for yourself.
Yeah, time for yourself. And a simple exercise people can do is just sit on your bed, for 10 minutes, and just look at your room and just think, how can I make this room better? And no matter which state you're in, there's always something you can do that can be better. So it's just a simple exercise of paying attention to your media environment, and that's one of the things that people in the Navy SEALs are taught. So that making your bed in the morning, and making sure your uniform is clean, making sure everything is tidy and in order. So being able to just control this small part of your environment can be able to make you succeed in bigger and high stress environments, such as being in war. And I think that's something that is lost on us. So continue.
And in relation to what you're saying about organizing your room, there's I think, was it I think it's a quote, but I can't really remember how it goes. Well, but the point was, if you feel stressed, or if you feel stressed and you're in your room, just try cleaning it and try arranging things. Like that really has a very big psychological significance, because like you don't need to pay attention to.
Yeah, so you're talking about the psychological significance of that, attending to your room, attending to the immediate environment.
Oh, well, that gives you like, as you were saying, it gives you peace of mind, because a clean room, and not just on the physical aspect, even on the inside, like you can't have a lot of things stressing you up and you expect to be fine. Yeah, so you have to clean, like, you deal with the problems as they happen.
Yeah. It reminds me of a funny story back in school. So you remember these motivational speakers we used to have,
Uh-huh.
or even those CU meetings? Sorry, your audio is breaking up. Okay. So these guys, when guys used to come from those motivational,
Yeah, the likes of Pepe Minambo and
yeah, Pepe Minambo and the likes.
yeah.
So when guys used to come,
when you after the meetings you are so pumped up and
I'm sorry, your audio is breaking up. So I was saying, when you used to come from those talks,
for that one evening,
yes,
for that one evening, you are very focused.
yes. So the first thing that people used to do, was arrange their locker. Okay. Yeah. So I was telling about this those motivational speakers. The likes of Pepe Minambo used to come, and those old boys and those guys. So the first thing that people will do when they got back to class,
for that evening, you're very focused and
you're very focused, and the first thing you do when you get to class is to arrange your locker. So people used to arrange their lockers.
Actually,
these guys who had papers for books, there's collections of papers, not books. So people will start arranging their lockers, and then the next thing they will do actually is arrange their day. So you arrange arrange your physical space, then you arrange your temporal space. So you arrange your time. So people make a timetable. You make a timetable, and then you stick that timetable, and that timetable has a quote at the bottom. Something cheesy like "winners don't quit, quitters never win," or something like that. Yeah.
If you want success as bad as you want to breathe,
then you'll be successful. Yeah.
But I think for that one evening, the teachers had peace of mind in school because you're really focused trying to organize your life and trying to get your life in order.
Yeah.
And then the next day you get back to default settings.
Yeah, actually, that's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to ask. How come people used to get back to default settings after that?
I think it's because the breaking habits, it's quite difficult. Yeah, because if you're used to doing something, then trying to leave it's like you're trying to object what your mind is used to, and trying to control your mind is like an uphill task. So yeah.
Okay, there's this thing of people saying like you can't rely on motivation to get things done. Only
motivation
discipline
gives you just a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't last. That kind of doesn't last.
It doesn't last. Yeah, I think it's discipline and consistency that creates new habits, and once you get yourself into doing something new, you'll really start enjoying it, and you'll do it for a very long time compared to watching a motivational video, listening to a motivational speaker, and get your dopamine levels high for a moment.
Speaking of motivational videos, so there's this thing I wasn't aware of it about 3 weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago, and I saw it and I blew my mind about the toxic world of self-help. So books like those 12 rules for life and 48 laws of power. So the danger is you can get you get addicted to motivation. You get addicted to imagining yourself in those situations rather than actually doing the thing that is being said on those by those people in those books. So it was an interesting thing because you just watch one motivational video, then you imagine yourself working out in the gym, then you feel good, then when that feeling goes away, then you find another video or you read another motivational book,
and that's not enough to keep you going for a very long time, because it's not sustainable in the long time in any way. And there's also something I think I read about. Someone was critiquing the title self-help books. It sounds like you have a deficiency somewhere that you really need to help yourself.
Yes.
So yeah, maybe they can be referred to as guidance books in a way.
And speaking, guidance in a way. Okay. And speaking of self-help, so there's this people who try to give you like the 10 steps or the 11 steps of happiness or 11 steps of getting fit. Get fit in 2 days. Get fit in 2 days, and you'll get abs in 2 weeks. And what people don't get that is success. It comes from continuous effort. So it's time and effort.
It does not come, and it does not come overnight. And I think I was reading a book by Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
The 10x rule. I think it's the 10x rule. Yeah. So he says something like, just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah. Where are we again?
Yeah, you are talking about the 10x rule book.
Yeah, the 10x rule book by Grant Cardone. There's this something. There's something I want to relate to it about motivation and doing things. It has escaped my mind. I'll get back to that when I remember it.
Yeah. So and you're talking about how breaking habits is hard because I think from neuroscience, when you do something, and maybe you could correct me on this, but I think I'm pretty accurate. When you do something, the brain, through its neurotransmitters, creates new connections.
Yeah, it creates new neural pathways.
Neuron pathways, yeah. So using neurotransmitters like dopamine, oxytocin, and the like, adrenaline. So when you do something continuously, that pathway continues getting strengthened. Yes.
And so ideally breaking habit is like trying to stop the formation of or the strengthening of these pathways. It's really hard because and this is how actually people get addicted to stuff, because you're used to it and your brain is already conditioned to that thing. Like for example, say sugar, even alcohol. Like it gives you over time, after using it after the neural pathways have been formed and strengthened, you really can't do without, because your brain will always be telling you something like there's something you're missing and there's something you really need to do. For example, try stop using sugar even for 2 days and see how that goes.
I've been doing it for some time now, so I know how it feels. I've been doing it for some time.
It's usually tough during the first days, but after you stop, think of forming new pathways as you're constructing something. Yeah, so if you stop the supply of the raw materials, then that thing you're trying to build won't proceed.
So on sugar, something interesting about sugar, that the addiction to sugar is regardless of the source of the sugar.
Yeah.
So whether you
doesn't really
the addiction to other substances is based on maybe the taste you get in your mouth. Yeah, you think that the sweeter it is, the more addictive it is. No, even if you can't taste the sugar, the way when it gets
the
metabolized in the
sweetness
body,
and how it gets.
yeah. When it gets metabolized in the body, that's what creates the feeling of addiction. It's not when you get the taste in your mouth.
Yeah, because I think the basic structure of sugar is it glucose, 6-carbon molecule. Yeah. So whether you're getting it from, and I'd like to relate this to what I hope you know or you've heard about Amerix guy, this Amerix guy.
Controversial.
Yeah, quite controversial.
Yeah.
So this thing he likes saying about fruits and sugar, natural sugar, honey. So you get people saying they'll avoid processed sugar and go for natural
sugar,
natural sweeteners like honey. And really, the body doesn't tell the difference between sugar from fruit and sugar from honey, because and actually it's worse. Because what you get from honey and fruits is fructose, and your body can't process fructose like immediately. And that to your body, it's detrimental. It has detrimental health effects, because you find that the fructose is stored in the liver, leading to a condition known as the fatty liver. Yeah, fatty liver disease. I've forgotten the medical term to describe it. Yeah, there's a medical term. These guys from the medical industry like flossing with big words to describe small things. So,
well, fatty liver is a pot which leads to the pot belly, I guess.
Yeah, it leads to the pot belly, and it's really an accumulation of fructose that causes inflammation of the liver, so it swells, and in a way it also blocks other functions, because the liver has a lot of functions, like you have gluconeogenesis, that is formation of glucose, glycolysis, breakdown of glucose. So you have something, you are taking in something that is essentially making like your whole body stagnate in a way.
Think of it as
because if your liver doesn't function, it's you're in trouble. Like you can't even excrete you can't even excrete toxic substances. I
think
so this issue about
back in primary school, back in primary school, or is it primary or secondary, you were being told that the liver is like the powerhouse of the
I think it was in high school
of the body. So it does like the most important some of the most important jobs.
Is it not the second largest organ
in the body?
The skin.
After the skin, so it's the largest internal organ. So it's pretty important, and I think
pretty critical.
On that explanation, it's something like trying to. So imagine the liver as a factory and like cutting off power to the liver, like feeding it that fructose that you've described. I think that's the best way I can think about it. Like something that dampens the power. So let's say you have a solar panel and you have put a shade over 90% of it, and you expect it to
so
work.
It won't work. It won't work well for you.
It won't work well for you, and then it will lead to a lot of problems. We're talking about neural networks. Neural networks before, and it's something I think it was going into an interesting topic. We touched on this a bit with Lee on the last episode, and I wanted to get your thoughts on the reptilian brain, this and the old systems in the brain, and the modern male-female interactions, male-female dynamics, because we live in this modern age where you're not an animal, you're a human being, but people still, sometimes people are called animals. Men are called dogs. So
we are all products of evolution. So
yeah. So I think maybe we can get into
So,
that. What you're interested, what you've heard, and what your experience has been like.
First of all, so should I focus on like the intersexual dynamics in a way, majorly?
Yeah, intersexual dynamics, the biology and the social, how it's expressed socially now.
Oh yeah.
So what happens in the brain, then how it is expressed socially.
Okay. So I was reading a book by Rollo Thomas.
Yeah, the Godfather. He's called the Godfather of the Manosphere. So called.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm done with the first book, the Rational Male. Yeah, in the Rational Male series. My next book will be preventive medicine.
Yeah.
So from what I've read and from what I know, it's whatever is happening now is not new. It's just that it's been modified in a way because we are products of evolution, as I've just said. And looking at the relations between men and women, it gets complicated and tricky, and it's not a comfortable topic to speak about.
It's a muddy topic.
Yes, quite muddy. Yeah, so as a man, what
I think maybe we can just start from why men and women need each other. Let's just start on that. Then now we'll get into the interdynamics of it. So biologically, evolution wise,
but biologically, you only need a woman for reproduction, and that's quite rudimentary if I put it that way. But looking at but going into details, then you'll see there's more to that. Like a man provides and a woman is there to maybe take care of the children and the family, while maybe the man goes out to hunt and fend for the family. So psychologically, I think women have grown a mechanism in which to find themselves male who can provide for their needs. And that's why I think I read somewhere, it's quite interesting. You'll find women will either be dating guys from their same social background or a higher social background.
I believe it's called hypergamy.
Ask yourself, that's called hypergamy, like marrying up, as explained by Rollo. So the reason for this is that the woman is looking for a long-term provisioning from the male. And to do this, they have to filter through a wide pool of potential suitors. So other than provisioning, in a woman will be looking for proper genes to pass on to her children. Like you need to be physically fit, or at least look healthy.
Like how was this important when we were still evolving, when we were still, before we lived in these protected times, when we were still evolving, when we were living in the savannah or in the forest?
Like for example, the conditions out there were really tough. So you find that women develop these should I call them this strategies over time for them to survive, for them and their children to survive. And for you to survive, you need to be like you need to survive in your environment first. And survive in your environment, you need to have genes that have adapted well to surviving in that environment. Yeah, so men who provided or who were probable candidates to provide these genes had more women than, say, men who are perceived as weak.
Yeah. And and we have just to make the point that these male features that could be seen by women. So male features, male and girls and boys start getting differentiated during puberty.
Starts at, is it age 11?
Okay, depends on. So for girls it's 9
but
to 12.
It depends.
For boys it's 12 to 11 to 14 or something thereabout. So it's when testosterone kicks in, which we'll refer as T mostly.
Like the
T levels. So when T levels rise during puberty for boys, so what happens is the swelling of the jaw, the increase in the size of the limbs,
shoulders,
broadening of the shoulders, deepening of the voice. So these are testosterone features. Increase in height and weight, increase in upper body mass, increase in muscle mass, increase in bone strength, bone and joint strength. So all these things, when you look at it, it's something trying to build a sort of a fighter. So a fighter. So
yes.
Because men, we have these clubs in front of at the end of our arms. If you want to compare, just try and compare your hand and the hand of a girl of the same age. It just disappears. It's like a child putting their hands in there. Of course, there are
really small.
Yeah, of course, there are women who are taller and bigger than other men, but the general rule, the majority rule is men are bigger physically, mostly upper body, and they're stronger. They're stronger in terms of that. So these were indicators. So if males, reproducing males had these features, these were indicators of high T levels, high testosterone levels.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what you're saying, that women selected for features of high testosterone to pass on to these genetic markers in males to pass on to females, because male features are attached to, correct me if I'm wrong, I forget my genetics a bit, but male features are attached to the Y chromosome. To
the Y chromosome.
Even some features such as balding, which some people are making some fun of my head of. But I'm not just to make it clear, this is by choice. This is not by genetic.
Why did you choose? Why did you choose to shave?
I'm going full Joe Rogan, full The Rock on this podcasting thing.
That's nice.
Some reasons. Yeah, it's just some reasons. But I'll get into that later, next episode maybe. But so let's get back on track. You were talking about the features, and the second thing, the first thing we talked about was provision.
Yeah. So actually, when women are selecting their mates, these are the two most important things that they consider, like their provisioning ability and their genetic or their physical appearance. Yeah. And if you compare that to whatever is happening in the modern society of that is full of effeminate men. I was reading something. It's quite interesting. Like in the US or in the West, in the US, you find that is it over 80% of the population there is obese.
Yes, overweight and obese. So it's like a third are
overweight and obese.
A third are obese and another third are overweight. So when you combine them, it comes to something like that. Something like maybe yes, it's a lot of people.
And for as much as we are evolving as in the societal conventions are involving, like whatever society deems right is changing. Whatever evolution has deemed right won't change quite easily. Like, for example, women will still continue looking for fit men and men who have provisioning abilities. So you'll find that whatever is happening in the dating market today, women will rarely have one companion because it's hard to find these two features, physically fit and long-term provisional ability in the same person.
Mm.
Yeah, and it's something we need to think about, because is it morally upright? Like, for women, they get to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Peterson says something like the choice. So okay, nature. It's called natural selection. So he was talking about natural selection.
Yes.
And why we call nature Mother Nature, and why nature is feminine. Because it's the feminine that selects. So it's nature selects.
Yes.
So
Yes, Mother Nature.
Yeah, he says it in a very something that can be unsettling to many people. So he says men compete to get to the top of a hierarchy. Then women wait and pick from the top. So
I think I read the same thing in, is it Richard Cooper's at the Unplugged Alpha?
Yeah, so
women
another
will just
version
be on the
is
sideline watching you.
And waiting on the finish line for
and waiting at the finish line for you, for the winners, and then they pick the winners.
It's interesting. It's interesting because these things I used to just read them, and then I had friends who have managed to become successful in sports. So I have friends in handball and basketball and rugby who have made it into, let's say, and hockey national teams. And they say that this is exactly what happens in when with winners. So when you go for a tournament and you win, so let's say these KUSA games, these school games, when you go for a rugby tournament, that Peterson describes it as there's a busload of models waiting for you at the end of the finish line. Like you're spoiled for choice.
Everyone wants to get a hand on you.
Everyone wants to get their hand on you. Everyone wants to. So it's an interesting thing. Like, most men can't wrap their head around it because maybe they don't understand the nature behind it. Because these guys who are in national teams tell me they change in their life since they joined the national team, or they became successful in their sport. And it's not only sport, it's even in academics and
academia, the business world, corporate world, I mean.
So a guy who does extremely well in class, like, although the movies still show that the nerd doesn't get any attention from women, but he's winning in that hierarchy. Yeah, he's winning in that hierarchy, and so the more hierarchies you win in, the more likely you are to be selected. So let's say there's academics, then there's sports, then maybe let's say there's business. So someone who can win in all these hierarchies is more likely to be selected.
Has a higher pool of potentials compared to maybe someone who's just chilling somewhere.
Has higher options, and we talked about it with Lee, and it was to those who have more will be given.
And
so it's something like, even in the statistics that has been some work that has been done on the statistics from dating apps. So 80% of the women are attracted to less than 20% of the men.
Yeah, like,
and this is just on physical. This
80% fight for the
So 80% of women are attracted to 20% of the men. So, and this is just on physical appearance alone, where there's just photos on social media. They haven't met. There's no chemistry or something. It's just physical appearance. So if on that sphere of physical appearance alone, 80% of men are taken out of the equation. Then,
so if
continue.
So if you're a man and you're maybe listening to this or watching this, you can't really blame the women for doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
it's just that it's rooted in their brains. It's something you can't really change overnight or something. Or here's what you need to do. Like, women will be going for successful men. Then why don't you build a successful career, or why don't you create value for yourself, something that women will want to look to? And the most basic thing is, like, just get fit. and yeah, just go to the gym. In fact, which I think a study was done where women were it has something to do with T levels.
Yeah.
Like women were given shots of guys who had worked out, and maybe shots for guys who were not worked out. And almost majority of the women would select the shots of women of the men who had worked out or who were sweaty in a way. And this has something to do with should I say, pheromones?
Yeah, pheromones,
yeah. And they're essential in like attracting the opposite sex.
Yeah.
And so if you have higher, then it means you'll attract more.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, pheromones are chemicals that are produced by a species for sexual attraction, and also they can be produced for other purposes, but mainly for sexual attraction. And although in human beings it has not been proven conclusively, but if companies, cologne companies, perfume companies, they're using these methods to use so they sell you. There are people in labs who are working out how to make artificial pheromones so that when you spray it on yourself, you become like attractive to the other person. So yeah, it's something that I think personally is smell is a very important olfactory sense in. So the olfactory senses are very important in female selection, and so for men is visual, and for females is mostly auditory and olfactory. I think that's what there is. Yeah, we're talking about staying fit, and I think we have
staying fit.
We mentioned it in the first episode, and I'm still going to say it again. I have a couple of friends who are working on that and are very interested in that. And I myself, I'm also an fitness enthusiast, and and you have your company. Can I say company, or is it a program, a community? Community is a better term.
Yeah, I'm trying to create a community of fit guys.
Yeah, so a community is a better term. So from my experience, one of the best ways of staying fit is having someone there to guide you. And even if it's not guiding you, someone just there to make sure that you stay on track, because it's easy to give up on those days when you don't feel like it.
Easy.
So if you have someone that is putting on a program, and it's a reliable program, and you're getting through it, and you can see progress, you can measure progress, I think that's a great way.
That's like half.
A great way for someone to.
That's like half the job done for you.
Yeah, half the job is getting to the gym. That's why they say half the job is just getting to the gym, getting out of bed and going to the gym, because you could,
which is
every time
every
time I go to the gym with my training partner, my gym bro, and when the when you're working out, you reach a certain point where you're getting tired, and the workouts are getting you
feel like giving up.
You feel like giving up. The workouts are getting intense, you're sweating a lot, you're tired, and even at that point when you don't have the energy to speak. So I always ask my gym bro, you had the option of staying in bed and eating
but you decided
snacks, to come here and hurt your body in pursuit of so what he says to me is, it's the sacrifice in pursuit for a greater goal. There's a greater goal in
like you're sacrificing your
and most
your luxury at the moment for
the future,
to look better in the future.
And when when you'll be looking in the mirror in 6 months time, you will like what you see, and maybe you won't at that time you won't remember that morning when you had to wake up, you had to drag yourself to the gym, but you love the results from that.
Should I tell you something interesting about my working out journey?
Okay, so before you get into that, I think so that we don't forget it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Gilbert runs a community. We were mentioning it. It's called KipMeFit. So I'm also part of that community, part of the development.
You
And
are a
make
very
sure-
important member.
Yeah. I'm not trying to endorse my own business. Yeah, I'm just doing it for. This is not a paid promotion. This is not a paid promotion for the channel.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll put the details of the program under the description of this video. So make sure you check it out. Yeah, KipMeFit. There's a WhatsApp group you can join. There's a website. There's an email you can email KipMeFit. All those details will be on our description. So if you're watching this right now, just scroll to the description. And if you're interested in getting fit, scroll to the description right now and check out those social media handles and contacts and start your fitness journey.
Yeah.
So you're talking about your fitness journey as you're talking about fitness.
Yeah.
Fitness journey. What's so funny about your fitness journey?
And I think it cuts across everyone. I don't know if this happened to you. When I was planning to start working out, that was last year. Yes, early last year, I think February, March. Yeah, so I told myself I'll be going to the gym. I bought the gym wear, got ready, bought the shoes. Yeah, but I never went to the gym because I kept telling myself that I'll be going like that. I'll go tomorrow, and you are really reluctant at the beginning to go. And I started working out, I think, in mid-September. Yeah, after the thought came to mind to start working out, I think sometime in February. So 7 months down the line, I haven't started working out, and they are feeling bad about myself.
Yeah,
it's when I decided to start working out, and I've never really gone to the gym. I think your body in itself is a gym. Like you have everything you need to get the body you want.
Our guy, my friend also, Kiplagat Oliver. He says as long as you have a flow, you're good to go.
Yes, yeah. For as long as you have that's your greatest. I mean, that's your greatest companion.
Yeah,
because there are a lot of exercises that you can do to build your upper body, that is your chest, your arms, build your core, your legs, and stuff. It's just getting you just need to get a plan in place and psychologically prepare yourself to start working out, because just like a habit, you're trying to introduce something new to your life, and the first thing your brain does is try to reject it because it's uncomfortable with it in the first place.
And I think one thing people need to understand is it will be hard. It will be hard when you start. People come in expecting that it will be easy because someone tells you, okay, I stopped going to the gym. You ask them why. It was too hard. I mean, it's supposed to be hard. And that's something that I don't understand when people tell me I stopped going to the gym because it's hard. I mean, you need to understand it's going to be hard. At anything worth doing will be hard, and that is definitely something that it's something like creating your own struggle. So when you struggle against weights, when you're lifting weights, or you're struggling against your own body weight, working out, doing push-ups, doing squats,
and
that struggle itself,
and there's satisfaction that comes from suffering.
Exactly.
And you also need to set your goals right before going to the gym, or even before you start working out. Like, you can't start working out because people are working out. You need to have a goal in mind. For example, you need to tell yourself, maybe for this period I'll be going to work on my core. I want strong core. Maybe I want strong arms, or I want to build my chest, something like that. But you can't work out for the sake of working out. Lose the motivation.
And
you need to have a goal in mind and a target.
yeah, speaking of goal, it's one of the things, because I sometimes I do things and people ask me, how can you do this? How can you, like, sometimes I work out maybe 2 times a day or 3 times a day. And people ask me, how can you do this? And one thing that works for me, and this is what I don't know if it will work for other people, and you talked about setting goals, is to imagine, I just imagine where I'll be like after I have worked out. Because if I think about, if I start thinking about where I'll be during the exercise, then obviously I'll be tired, and I know that.
Then that's worth suffering for.
Then yeah, so afterwards I know I'll feel good. I feel I have conquered that exercise. I've lifted that weight. I've done that cardio workout, and after that I feel better for making that decision. That decision I made to get out of bed. That decision I made to push through that workout. Just going through the motions. Just start doing one push-up. Start doing one squat, and then that builds up into an entire session where you've got a lot that you've done. So it's something that people should definitely start. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, and there are some positive aspects to working out, other than getting physically strong and stuff. It also boosts your confidence, and even mentally, like the mental fortitude you need to lift those weights. You need to complete the set of press-ups you need to do. You and your mental stamina also increases, because you have to tell yourself you have to push on till you finish it.
Exactly.
I think I saw this on let me just finish and then you say it. I think I saw this on your WhatsApp status.
Yeah.
The bar never loses.
The bar never loses.
Yeah, so you'll do whatever you want to do, but just remember that the bar never loses. So it's up to you. So everything's on you. Yeah.
You okay, even if you can't beat the bar, you can't beat the bar. That's what I say. You even if you try how hard, even if you're the fittest guys in the world, they have a limit. Yeah, even the guys who do the world's strongest man, they're doing deadlifts with
there's a limit they can't go beyond.
They can't go beyond that. You can't go. And I don't know what you were talking about.
We were in fitness and health. But
I had an idea what to say something, but it slipped my mind. So check out KipMeFit. So we were talking about before we got into fitness.
Before we
we were talking about
the
natural selection and what the role that female selection plays in evolution. So it said that, so the example is female chimpanzees don't select who they mate with. So what happens is the female chimpanzee goes, because chimpanzees are our closest cousins. Yeah. So how did you evolve away from them? So the female chimpanzee gets into heat, gets fertile, and then what happens is the dominant male protects his right to mate with the female. So if the dominant male doesn't protect his right, the female can mate with a beta male or one of the in the lower ranks. Yeah. So what happens? The males fight it out. Now what happens?
And the winner gets the rights to breed.
Yeah. So in human hierarchies, what happens is the female selects. So regardless of what the males do, it's the females who select, and it happens on all levels. And you must have experienced So every male watching
Yeah,
this
and-
must have experienced it at some point.
Yeah. And for you to be successful, it's like for you to be successful in the dating market, you just need to learn the laws of the game. Like you know what women want. So why not get them to attract them? Like
I think
it's like placing a carrot in front of the horse and not
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
work
yeah.
the horse from the back. Yeah.
Speaking of carrots, I think a problem most men might have, most men actually have, is what the dissonance between what females say and what they do. So it's like, but she says she likes this type of guys, but how come she didn't accept me? So she says she likes gifts, and I was giving out gifts all the time, and she didn't. So it's something that people don't.
There's something interesting I read in the Rational Male. The Rolando Tomasi says the medium is the message. Like when a woman says something and she means something different, it's you don't focus on the message. Her actions will tell you more about what she wants. And there's been a conversation about associating women with solipsism. That's women don't know what they want. Like, and you can't blame them for that. There's been an association of some duplicitous nature with women's characters, like telling you this and then ending up doing something else, and then she'll blame you for not really standing up. And for most men, I think it's in the society we've been raised up in, we've been conditioned to be soft and kind and think like women. But that's like creating a problem in and itself, because women don't want to date other women. Like if you become kind, you become understanding, then what will she be?
Yeah. True.
Yeah. And then ironically, that's like men will be shamed for being men. So if you're aggressive and you're rugged, and so that's considered not civilized.
So you're like, so what so there's a book called The Boy Crisis by Dr. who I can't remember his name, but he talks about boys being seen as defective girls. So I don't know if you watched Rick and Morty.
No, I've actually just downloaded it. I'm planning to start watching it.
In the first season, there's an episode on something along those lines. Yeah, girls are seen as the perfect humans. Then boys are seen as the
defective ones.
The defective ones. Yeah, the ones who need to be corrected and tuned into and controlled. Their behavior needs to be controlled.
Yeah, but guess what? The guys who resist being controlled and changed and following whatever society is doing are the ones who are more successful in the dating market.
Exactly.
Which book was I reading? It's a book by David Dada. Is it The Superior Man? I think, The Superior Man.
The Way of the Superior Man.
Yeah, The Way of the Superior Man by David Dada. So there's something, and it caught my attention. There's something he writes about polarity. Like, compare how magnets behave. The North Pole will always attract the South Pole.
Yeah.
And in intergender dynamics, the masculine will always attract the feminine. Yeah. So if you want to correct boys as the defective gender, then you're trying to create this two feminines, and they can't really exist. They'll repel each other. even if they coexist, it won't be long term in any way, because the women will get bored and walk away, go looking for masculine men.
So one of the things that has happened in our society with the egalitarian society being formed and equal rights, equal opportunities for everyone, is that the effects of this sort of selection by females has magnified in some sense. So it's even more because the let's say the woman who, because and we said it in the last episode that no one has a problem with half of the population getting into work and contributing to the growth of the economy and growth of knowledge and research. But so let's say the woman who was a stay-at-home wife in the last few decades, now she's the CEO, the senior manager in a company. The way you've said that the old systems still work, so her hypergamy is going to be still the same. She's going to want someone who's either a CEO or higher up.
That's why successful career women don't have any form of stable relationship, and if they exist, then it's just a very small number.
Yeah. So it's something like so it's the three predictors of negative opportunities, a negative decline, a negative change in the opportunities for women is height. So if these things increase, it's height, IQ, and economic, socio-economic standing in society. So if those things increase, the opportunities for women reduce, because that's what they select on. Those are the three things they select on. And obviously the opposite is true for men, that if you work on those, if you hit those three things, most likely you're going to be successful in dating.
Yes. And speaking of dating, there's a, well, in reference to the US and the West, there's increased numbers of cases of divorce, and really the relationships don't have any value, if at all they do exist in the first place. And there's this thing I've come across called game. I read it in the Unplugged Alpha and the Rational Mail. So game and spinning plates. So to get to know how women work, you need to interact with them in the first place. Yes, and there's no real formula for going about it. And if you believe in whatever Disney preaches, like the happily ever after endings, they're well and good for you, but it's at least essential or important for you to know how the relationships works. For example, in the first place, when a woman is inclined to say yes to a man approaching her, then she has definitely evaluated, and they are intelligent species, by the way. They have definitely they have definitely evaluated you, and they think you are Mr. Right. And to ensure that
at that moment in that situation.
Yes, at that moment and in that situation. But remember, the situation might change, and you might not be Mr. Right for her anymore. So to stay on top of your game, there are things like there's something women fear most. It's competition.
Exactly.
So there's, if you try inducing competition anxiety in a woman's life, then she'll be working her ass off to, sorry for the word.
No problem.
Yeah, so she'll be working her ass off to make sure that you are her only. I mean, she's your only option. Yeah, but cunningly enough, she'll be doing this while still keeping her options open. But then, what has modern society taught men? Like, you need to get, there's only one for you. There's the perfect one for you. So while you are there wallowing in your confusion of trying to maintain this one, she's keeping her options open and she won't regret it. Yeah, but in plate spinning and game, you need to keep your options open. Like, he who has options has power.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. And it will also take away the feeling of desperation. Yeah, because if you have, it's like carrying all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
What if it falls? Then you're done.
Yeah, you're done.
And it's especially try looking at men who have been in long-term relationships and how they cope up with breakups compared to men who are in Kenya, they call it being on the streets, short-term relationships. Yeah, like you they don't care about anyone. Like they have a lot of options in that when one, let me call the options plates.
Yeah.
When one plate breaks, they don't really care and it won't really affect them. So
you remember we did River the Source, yeah?
Yes.
And it was it had a big feminist agenda. But you remember when was it Owor Kembo?
Owor Sino.
No, Owor Kembo, when the one who married a Koko, the main character.
Yeah, that was
when he was called for a meeting and he was asked what if. So the elders were using metaphors to explain to him what having one wife means. So it was something like, what if a leopard attacks you and you only have one arrow in your sheath or something, and what if and what if your household was only held by one post or one pillar? So I think that's the point. That was just a detour. The guys who did River the Source.
Yeah. So where was I? Plate spinning. Yeah, plate spinning gives you options, and two, it gives you power. The power to control the dating market is in your hands. Because we women are creatures who love attention. Like, in the rational male, I think there's a quote: attention is the currency in a woman's world. Like, the guys who give her a lot of attention, I mean, will get maybe to it will be reciprocated by her actions. Like, she'll also give you more attention. That's what they love. Speaking of attention, there's this trend of men and women being besties. I think it really breaks my heart when I see a man. You find a group of women and then there are 2 or 3 boys following them.
Boys. Yeah.
Because they haven't manned up enough. Yeah. My advice to them is just try. When a woman tries to friend zone you, try telling her no. Actually, just tell her no and don't give her any attention and walk away. Like, she'll come looking for you with insisting that she really wants to get to be friends with you, but in the real sense she's just using you. And what I mean by using you is she wants to, as I've said, they are emotional. I mean, they love attention so much. So the more attention she gets, the more satisfied she will be. Yeah, so if you
without
try
without
checking
having
yourself out,
without having to lose. So one way I saw
yes,
it
yes, yes.
is
Uh,
getting the benefits of interacting with a man without having to
mm,
give herself up in a way, to give
yes,
up
yes,
what
yes.
she has.
Yeah. And was it you who was telling me about think of a woman trying to friend zone you as her telling you that you you are not viable enough for me to have your kids.
Yeah, it's actually something from Dr. Peterson. Yeah, so I think it's one of the biblical lectures. I don't know if you heard it. It's the
Mhm.
story of Adam and Eve. So the
Mm.
story goes, people who don't know the creation story. So Adam is placed in the garden by God. Then, yeah, the God sees that he needs a companion, so he makes the woman, and the woman finds the snake, and the snake talks to the woman. The woman gets the fruit from the tree of knowledge. Yeah? So so Eve gives Adam the fruit. So that's an interesting thing, because women share food. Women are the ones who share food all over the world. Men bring the food. Women make sure everyone gets enough, and that is something that maybe we'll detour on later about the politics, that how women work in politics. They want everyone to get the same, the equal. Okay, but staying on topic. So Eve gives Adam, equality. Eve gives Adam the fruit. The fruit makes Adam, the moment Adam eats the fruit, the Adam becomes conscious.
It becomes conscious.
He realizes that
I think he compares the fruit to information.
Yeah. So consciousness, waking up. So he realizes that the fruit, he realizes that he is naked at that moment. So the thing is, women make men self-conscious. So, and the children make women self-conscious. So, and every man, so the worst thing that can happen to a man, okay, in the context of intersexual dynamics, because there are worst things in the world, is being rejected.
Yes.
Because why are you rejected? Because nature, so quoting the words of Dr. Peterson, nature,
yes,
in the guise of that woman, has said, you're good enough as a friend, but there's no reason why your genetic material should be passed on to the next generation.
And
you have not shown any good reason.
Once men start thinking in that direction, they'll never accept let's just be friends request from women. Yeah. And
so
actually
one of the jokes that runs in the gym is when men go through a breakup, they go to the gym, right?
Yes.
Or they make a radical lifestyle change. And this has been experienced. The experience of my friends who have been in relationships, or who have been what they call situationships. That when they're when they break up with a woman, or the woman does something, it's one of the most profound things that happens in their minds. And they realize, I have no value. The reason why this woman left me is because I have no value. Let me start hitting the gym. Let me open a business.
Let
me work on my academics, my credentials. So you find that
actually, I just finished before, because I think it will be introducing something new based on what you're saying.
He who has is it a man who has I think it was in the source. Is it the Bible? A man who has a foolish wife is as good as dead, or something like that. Because the extent to which you push yourself is, and it shouldn't be, but dependent upon how conscious the woman will make you. So that's the story of the psychological significance of Eve giving Adam the fruit and making him And ironically, when God finds Adam, he says, it is this woman that you gave me,
It is that you created.
Not
He does not take the
I don't
blame.
want to take any responsibility. It's this woman that you created. Yeah, so
Yes.
that's yeah, we were talking about consciousness, making women making men conscious. Yeah, you're about to say something about that.
Yeah. We've said a lot of stuff. Oh, we were on LJBFs. That is,
yeah.
let's just be friend requests from women. Well, my advice to men is you need to accept rejection. For yeah.
Kibe, do you listen to Andrew Kibe?
Andrew Kibe, yes. I know,
says,
I know the guy.
Take it like a shot of tequila.
Yes.
I am not. That's next. For our guys who are fond of alcohol. So take it like a shot of tequila, quick, or a shot of communion wine. Take it for the Catholics.
Yes.
And the Anglicans will take it like a shot of communion wine, quickly. Then move on.
Yes, take it quickly. Move on to the next. Yes.
Okay, something interesting. Peterson says that if things are not going your way, so let's say, and okay, we're talking about this because these are things that are happening to men, young men our age. It's not something that we're just talking about. It happens in the US, in the West. People are actually
it's happening even in our society.
Yeah, people actually commit suicide because of such thing, because of rejection, and people actually, maybe they stop studying and they defer and they change their courses, they get into depression because of such, they get into drugs. It's if things are not going your way, then there are two things that could be possible. There's something wrong with the world, or there's something wrong with you. And by you, we mean the way you're viewing the world, the way the world is manifested in your eyes. So maybe that's the people who the people who are I've met people who know how to take rejection in a great way. So rejection maybe from a job opportunity or from a relationship. Not seeing it as a loss as such, but as a chance to cover, to work on, I don't want to use the word work on yourself. I don't like that really, but it's a chance to get to change the way. Maybe there's a way, the reason why you're suffering,
change your perspective, maybe to
the reason why you're suffering should be left at your feet, because you're not everything you could be, and you know it. Now you know it because it has been shown to you. Yeah, so it's that consciousness. It's an interesting topic, and how women play a role. And the other side of it is children make women self-conscious. So children make the women are made. That's why they say women are born knowing what they want to do, something like that. Then men have to find what they should do.
Yeah. And
so biology and time makes.
Speaking of and speaking of men finding what they need to do, like it's like finding your purpose, and like purpose gives your life meaning, according to Professor Peterson. And it's hard to find your purpose in life if you're not doing anything to try and find your purpose in life.
Or if you're not doing anything at all. So the idea is, if you do something, no matter how even if it's not aligned to your dream goal, during the process of doing something,
contributing to
during the process of doing something, you will find what you need to do. So you'll find your niche within that context.
So back to
It's interesting. I think we're hitting about 2 hours at the moment. So
right now,
I
true.
think we started at around 8:30.
Around 8:49, 8:50, 10 minutes to 9.
Then we're good. We're good. Yeah, you can just go.
Yeah.
Maybe we take a bit of a detour, a break. I can see you have a Man United jersey behind you, team viewer.
Team viewer.
How come? So I think the thing is,
there's a quote I read somewhere.
Yeah.
If something has to kill a man, so I've decided it's Manchester that's going to kill me.
Yeah, something must kill a man. So how come Manchester is okay, if you really look at it, someone described it as millions of people tuning in to watch 22 millionaires,
22 players,
22 millionaires kicking around a leather sack filled with air and trying to get into a rectangular frame with a net behind it. So why in your opinion do you think obviously when did you start supporting Manchester, and why in your opinion do you think the sport and football in particular has such an attraction, such a strong attraction to people, and especially males?
Well, first of all, I started supporting Manchester United. Was it in 2005 or 2006? I think it was in class 1 or class 2 back then, because of Cristiano Ronaldo, the famous CR7. Yeah, and one thing about these sporting activities and events is they make you feel part of a community. Like you, if you watch, I'm not sure if you do watch, but if you watch Manchester United games, there's always a banner, like "Move Kiss My Religion" or something like that. Yeah, so you are part. You feel like you're part of that. Of that team that you're supporting, and it also gives you some satisfaction, especially when you see a team winning. Yeah.
So there's a desire, one to be part of a tribe, and two that your tribe should win.
Yes.
Now on that point, there's an interesting bit. If your tribe wins all the time, then it stops being attractive.
You will get bored.
You get bored. Why?
Yeah.
You get if your tribe wins all the time, you get bored. I think it's something to do with
should
rising. Okay, go on. Then I'll speak. Go on.
I think with levels of it has something to do with levels of satisfaction. Like there's should I use dopamine, because it's the hormone that's important for giving you satisfaction and excitability, maybe. Yeah, so if over time something has been exciting you, it will reach a point that your dopamine levels don't change, even if that factor is still there. So it's the fluctuations in dopamine levels that keeps you going, keeps you supporting Manchester United. Like when your team loses, you're angry and bored, and your cortisol, that is your stress hormone, is high. And you feel bad, but the next time your team wins, then you're happy and stuff. So I think it's the fluctuations in the dopamine levels and the thrills you receive that keeps you going back to support your team, wanting to be part of that.
Yeah, and I think I'll talk about two things. Yeah, what we've just talked about is you need something to be striving against.
Yes.
You need to be striving for something that is achievable, yes, but it's difficult to achieve. So it's those matches where I think SportPesa was getting those EPL teams to come and watch to come and play in Kenya. So obviously these teams are of a different caliber, and you're not going to watch you're watching your team get clobbered, and also don't want to watch your team winning all the time. So you need to have something to be striving against. Otherwise, you never get that hit.
An opponent to fight. Yeah.
Yeah, something to be pushing against. Yeah, and the thing is, when and on dopamine, yeah, because football is very involved with betting, and I've just talked about sport pesa. Something interesting I read is that in gamblers are motivated by the fact that they might lose. So people think that people gamble because people think that people gamble because they want to win. But the addicted gambler is motivated by the opportunity to say the statement that bet imechomeka, that ile nilichoma bet, and that
it makes you feel nice if
the fact that he could lose makes him more excited, and they say that when gamblers lose multiple times, the dopamine produced is higher for every time they gamble, for every time they win now. So if a gambler was gambling and they win every time, they won't feel the same. That's for the addicts, for the addict gambler. So maybe it's not a good thing for you to lose when you're betting, because you find people who are betting and
because it will keep you going back. And
this guy loses every weekend, and you ask him, how come you're still betting? It's the hope that kills you. It's the hope that kills you. Yeah, but it's the loss that builds you. You know, it's the fact that you might lose that builds you. Yeah, the fact that you'll get to post that meme about being a fan of Manchester United, and the fact that someone gets to post a meme about being a fan of Arsenal and how it will kill him. I think it's part of the motivation
to keep supporting that team.
Yeah, even if you are losing, you're the losing end. You're participating in something. You're participating in a certain activity that in which you might win or lose. You might get a loss or gain. So, and maybe that's something that it has just occurred to me. Maybe that's something that people can use as motivation. Obviously, on the topic that we were talking about in terms of intersexual dynamics and approach. So if you're a man and you're approaching a woman, maybe the fact that you might lose should be a motivation to you. So imagine if you went somewhere
that will be rejected.
Yeah, you might be rejected. It should be a sort of motivation to you, because it will tell you it will tell you something about yourself. Yeah. So imagine if you went somewhere and all the girls wanted you, and I was talking to someone about this about sports personalities, and most specifically rugby players, international rugby players that I know of. They tend to get married pretty early. Because think about this, this guy has access to as many women as he would like for a lifetime.
A harem.
A harem. Yes. So what's his challenge? His only remaining challenge is how well can he maintain a long-term relationship?
Yeah, and
because what other men experience as a challenge is readily provided for him. So maybe what he sees as something that may be desirable to achieve is being in a long-term relationship or getting married. So you're saying something about why?
Well, do you think men should date below the age of 30? When you're below the age of 30, do you think you should be out there dating, and especially long-term relationships?
I have some thoughts about that, yeah. Well, and but this is my personal opinion, yeah. So no, I don't. No, I don't. I don't think men. It's a great quote I saw somewhere that a certain basketball coach wrote. If I want to be the best basketball coach in the world, then I have no time for a woman or a wife. I don't know if it was a woman or a wife. That okay, if you want to be the best, I don't know, this
in whatever
the
you're
best
doing,
version of yourself, or the best person you possibly could be, then you don't have
you need
any you don't have not any business, but you should not make significant investments in relationships or in women.
LTR.
That's my opinion. Not that's something, because I think LTRs are true LTRs, true long-term relationships with commitments are things that someone should strive for.
And there's a lot
they should not be taken
as a man.
They should not be taken as lightly as people have taken them in our generation, because this is a human being you're dealing with feelings and emotions. So for me, just the investment for me at that age outweighs the return you'll get. So that's my opinion. But in some cases, I think it's the best thing for, let's say, stability, because the other option is the other two options is you abstain or you become totally promiscuous. So maybe, and they say those are the two extremes: abstinence or total promiscuity. Maybe the middle line is maybe getting a LTR. But my opinion and my view is a kind of abstinence. Or if you're invested, then you should not invest as if
so much.
So much into that.
Just make sure you give your purpose or your mission, whatever you're working on in life, a greater portion of your.
Yes.
And there's, I think, in the Rational Male I read, there's the sexual market value of a man increases with time. There's this quote, I don't know if is it Amerix or is it, I think it's Amerix. It says men age like wine, women age like milk.
I think it's just a general quote.
It's a general quote. But I think I read it first on an Amerix post.
But continue. I think I'll just make my point after you have done. You're done with yours.
So with men, you realize that in your 20s, early 20s to late 20s, you have nothing significant to offer to a woman. And this might be actually a problem in today's society, because men end up hurting women by not being a true version of themselves, and women end up being bitter again.
As Kibe says, wait, kijana wa 20 years old, unafanya nini na madem? What are you doing with women, bro? Focus on your hustle. But there's a danger. There's a danger to that idea, and people who take it wrong.
And
so the people who take it in the extreme manner is, because women won't accept me or have rejected me, then women my age and women who are age appropriate to me, then I'll just say, to hell with women. I'll throw all caution to the wind. I'll leave. I just leave like off the tracks.
You want to live in isolation.
I know, because I read somewhere that when I get to my 30s and 40s, my value will be so large that what they say is water gelator. They'll bring themselves. And that is wrong. Let me just finish. because what happens is you'll find that you'll be a 20-year-old man, a 25-year-old man, a 30-year-old man, a 35, 40. They're very different human beings. Very different.
Yes.
When you're 20 years old, you are nothing but potential. You could be anything you want to be. When you're 25, you still have potential, but we should be seeing that potential in a certain direction. When you're 30, hey, where's your, what have you started doing? What have you started
We
building?
need to start seeing
35,
results.
we should be seeing results, and 40. So what happens to those people is they postpone, and what we're talking about, the suffering. They postpone the sacrifice, and you end up being a 40-year-old child or a 35-year-old child.
What Professor Jordan B. Peterson says, you're a 30-year-old big infant.
Yeah, you're just a big infant. You just turn into a big infant.
Yeah, a big infant.
Yeah, so that feeling of nikipata do watajileta. I'm not a big fan.
I mean, it's and it should actually it's detrimental because you don't have enough exposure to handle these situations. Actually, women will take advantage of you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are the
because
guys
they
who
know
come,
this.
who come crying to social media. Oh, I gave her my car. I took her to school. Because he just handled the one side of money, and there are other dynamics that
and forgot. Like there's a whole list of things that makes you whole, like starting from your spiritual aspects to your professional aspects to your financial aspects.
Health is also a big one.
Health very important. Health.
So there's a lot of stuff to work on. You can't just say after do then what later. It can't work like that. It can't work like that. So there are other things that you need to fix. You were saying something. Speaking on health.
Speaking of health, there's these what should I call it? The fast food industry. The likes of KFC, McDonald's. In Kenya, we have, I think, Galitos, Pizza Inn,
Chicken Inn.
KFC. Chicken Inn, and all that. So there is also an aspect of complacency when people are dealing with their own health, especially when you're young and you still look fit. Because when you're young and still look fit, then you lie to yourself that I can take anything without consequences. But then you fail to realize that whatever you're doing will also affect you in the future.
You will pay the price.
So you have to pay the price for that. So with regard to that, and even in trying to, in the wake of lifestyle related diseases, like majorly most of them are caused by whatever food you're taking in. And I think there's a book, I can't remember the author, and I think I've only done about 2 or 3 chapters of the book, but the general concept or the general idea in the book is most of the diseases that people get, most of the lifestyle related diseases that people get, the likes of diabetes and obesity, can be reversed by just eating right. So by eating right,
like
you
garbage in, garbage out. There's a line like that. So if you can't feed yourself garbage, then you expect what comes out to be something that's attractive.
I don't want to promote KipMeFit here, but the idea behind starting KipMeFit as a community was, and our tagline is conscious living. So you find that if you live a conscious life, like you are always thinking about what you're doing and about the decisions you're making, then in the sense of, say, what you're consuming, you need to know what you are consuming. the energy you're consuming and the energy you use. Say you take in a whole pizza. you don't really need all the energy. You just need a little bit of that to keep you running. Yeah, so where is the rest going to? It will be stored in your body, and over time will start getting the fatty liver we were talking about earlier on. Yeah. So people just need to be conscious of what they take in. Yeah. And before you buy food or before you take in food, you need to know the amount, the caloric content you are taking in. Like you don't need a lot of it. You just need enough.
Yeah.
That's
I think that's important stuff. One thing I like to compare it, when people go to people who are used to living in urban areas, when you go to rural areas or small towns, small communities, just look around, look at the physique of the people there. And I think some people mistake it for poverty. So in Kenya, it's like those guys who are in here, they're like that because they're poor. They can't afford to buy all these juices and pizzas and fried chicken that we get to buy.
That we get.
Yeah, and it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle thing, and it's funny because in the US, whole foods and organic foods, those are the foods which are expensive, and people eat to stay healthy. And if you have a lean body, then it's the rich who have lean bodies, then the poor are obese in some sense. Yeah, so
but in Kenya,
it's the other way around.
Quite the opposite.
That's okay. Okay, if you come from school, then you're told umekonda sana unateseka. Nairobi shamba la mawe. Yeah, so it's something that is in your control, as we were talking about. It's in your environment when you, as you were saying when we got started in the episode.
And something interesting has come across my mind. You mentioned a gym buddy or a gym bro. Yeah, and an idea just came across my mind. I think in relation to that, I think whatever you're doing with the Old Boys podcast is quite significant. I think we need to create spaces for men, and men need men to grow. I mean, men need tribes of men to grow. Like you can't do it on your own. Yeah. And in fact, you need strong men. Yeah, at least it should be a blend of people who have seen it all and done it all, with a blend of people who are trying to get into the real world from people who are trying to do it.
So people actually, and I wanted to say it at the start but I forgot, people have actually been asking me about the name and the content that is being produced here. So the Old Boys podcast is an idea that I've had for some time now to have, because before I always had these interesting conversations with my friends. So there's some people I can speak to for 6 hours and the conversation will still be interesting. And I felt, and people have told me, that I have this ability to get the best out of people when they're speaking, and to get ideas out of them and to keep the conversation interesting. And also I was interested in maybe there's some things that we talk about that could be useful to other people. So if there was a way we could get that information and put it into a digital space where those conversations can be archived, and people interested in those topics can listen to them. And it's not limited. So for those who are the first two guests that I've brought are obviously old boys from my old school Mangu, and maybe most of the guests at the start might be from that, but there's a diverse pool of guests that I'm targeting, and we can get into any and everything. So and it's even open to to women. Women can listen in. Ladies can listen in.
Yeah,
and
there's
at some point we'll have probably an old girl of some school, maybe probably Boma or Bushji, and she'll come and tell us, or any other school anywhere, and
yeah,
they'll come and tell us their side of the story, and probably because I know I happen to have met very interesting ladies in my in the recent past. I've met very interesting, and they have incredible stories and what they are doing in tech, in medicine. It's brilliant. So, and also we'll talk about other things, but it will be majorly a space for men, but it's an open space. It's an open podcast for open conversations. People to talk about, and probably even have guys from the older generation, guys who have seen it all, as you've said it, guys who have seen it all, and they can give us a bit, because even you can tell there's some conversation you have with your uncles and your, let's see, if your grandparents are still alive, or your father's friends, or and there are things that they might say to you that maybe you might talk for 30 minutes, but there's something they said in 30 seconds that really hit you. So that's the goal. And by the way, congratulations to anyone who's still listening to us at this point. I think we have hit about 2 hours and about 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes.
Still going.
And I promised myself that this episode will not be this long, and I even put a limit on myself. But what can you do? It's the open conversation that we're having. It's unstructured. It's let's get into anything. Let's get into anything and everything, and let's have these conversations because they need to be had.
And just to allude to what I think I'll keep referring to most of the men I look up to. In this case, Rollo Tomasi. I think if everyone has something to say, I mean, even if you don't have much information about something, there's something that I don't, and by getting together and interacting, you get to share. We get to share and learn from each other.
Yeah, true.
And speaking of that, so do we have a men's conference?
On which date? On the day? Is it on the 14th?
From 14th is a Monday, I think. 14th is Monday.
I maybe thought about it. Let's wait and see whether let's wait and see whether it will be there. But maybe
something might pop up.
It should be there. Actually, I was actually planning to bring on someone who was going to talk about this. February is called the month of love or something like that. And it's a topic that I haven't explored in my real life. I haven't explored a lot. So I was actually hoping to bring someone on next week, and they can talk about a bit about that, a bit about the biology behind it, and why we do the things we do for the people we happen to think we love. So I think that's something that, and also for the men's conference, I think it will be there. It will be there even if it's virtual.
Yeah, it has to be. It has to be.
It has to be there, and people will attend, and probably one of my dreams, also as I try to grow this podcast, is to have someone like Peterson come to Kenya.
Yeah, that's good.
But maybe dreams are just that. They help you get through the day.
Yeah. No, but sometimes with hard work and determination,
it's time and effort. It's time and effort.
Yeah, time and effort. Time and effort is everything.
Yeah. And speaking of growing this podcast, you can grow this podcast by sharing it with your friends. Share the link. Let me know what you want to hear from our guests. Let me know any interesting people that you want me to interview. And share it widely. Like it, subscribe. It goes a long way. That one subscription goes a long way. So when you get to probably 1,000, 10,000, that one subscription will have made an important played an important role in getting us there. So I think we can end it there. I think you can give your social social media handles. Instagram, they find you at?
I'm not active on IG. I'm not active on Twitter. I'm not active on Facebook.
Right. So you're
I'll be
you're one of the few who are not active on those platforms. So they can they tell us what is your email? What is your email?